Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Redacted Report. I am your host. Coming to you from an undisclosed location. In today's video, in honor of the Halloween Ends trailer that's dropping tomorrow, I figure I will make a video talking about Michael Myers. Specifically, I'm going to give my opinions on a debate that's been happening for years online with people. I mean, I remember having this debate before social media, back on GeoCities message boards and Yahoo Chat. That's how long I've been involved in this debate. And that is to whether or not Michael Myers is a fully supernatural being. Now, obviously, throughout the multiple timelines, there's evidence to basically support both theories. Especially when it comes to fully supernatural theory. If you talk about the Thorn storyline, which basically the Thorn trilogy, as they call it, which is Halloween 4 or 5 and Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, or whatever title it is, because it's a couple different titles depending on what cut you're watching. But it's the same premise. It's the Thorn trilogy. He's pretty much fully supernatural on that one, but just for the sake of this argument, my opinion, I'm going to basically be focusing on the current timeline, which is Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills. And I'm going to give some examples of why I believe, in my opinion. And I'm basically going to go in order of the timeline, which means I'm going to start obviously with Halloween 1978, then I'm going to mention things in the flashback from Halloween Kills, then Halloween 2018, and back to Halloween Kills. So, as like I said, we're just going to stick it in like chronological order here. So, first off, the question: do I think Michael Myers is a fully supernatural being? No, I don't. Not this Michael. I don't believe he is. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Now, obviously, he's not completely human. There's something driving him. He's a human, but there's a supernatural element to him. It's not fully supernatural. I mean, like, John Carpenter as once described a character as almost a supernatural force. Basically a force of nature. So, even Carpenter doesn't believe he's fully supernatural when he created the character, but obviously there's something otherworldly, I guess you could say, driving him. But I still think he's more human than he is supernatural, and I'm going to give you evidence as to why I think that. Now, if you start at Halloween 1978, he starts to take some damage. He does. Certain things that happen to him, and they're like the first time he gets hurt in Halloween was when Laurie, I believe, stuck the knitting needle in his neck. Okay. That would hurt, but it probably wouldn't kill you. It would obviously not feel very good. You would need medical attention, but it would kill you. And then the next time he was hurt was when Laurie was in the closet, the famous scene where she stuck him in the eye with the coat hanger and then stabbed him in the chest with his knife. Now, that was some significant damage that would kill a fully mortal human being. But like I said, Michael, in my opinion, is human with a slight supernatural element to him, so that whatever that force is, that force of evil within him, is what's driving him. And of course, he raised up, that iconic raised up there, and then Loomis shot him 6 times, and he fell over the balcony. He was back, and we all know when Loomis went to check, Michael was gone, and of course the look on Loomis's face. I like the look he had on his face at the end of Halloween 1 rather than the beginning of Halloween 2. I mentioned Halloween 2 even though it's not part of this timeline, but just the look on Loomis's face at the end of Halloween when he knows he was gone, his expression didn't change. That was great. Because he was like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. And like, if you look at Halloween 2, he was, shocked, obviously. But, so, he was shot 6 times. You're assuming all 6 shots hit. But obviously, he was hit at least once because it knocked him over the balcony. Now, in Halloween 1, you can see every time he shot, Michael jerked back. So it's safe to say that all 6 shots made contact, obviously. Now, as I go into the as I move up to the flashback scene in Halloween Kills, they may have retconned that a bit, because if you look, I know it's dark, but if you look at Michael when you first see him when he's walking down the alley, right when Hawkins pulls his gun on him and he stops. I mean, it's dark, yeah, but there doesn't look to be a whole lot of damage on his chest. There should be. I mean, if they're going by if they didn't retcon anything, there would be 6 bullet wounds and a knife wound in his chest. There'd be significant blood and damage to his overall or coveralls, but there isn't. Now, when he stopped and looked at Hawkins, and then he kind of made a beeline through the yard. I think the reason why he did that, rather than just keep walking the way he was walking, maybe he just wanted to cut through there to get to his house. Maybe, I don't know. But I have a theory on why he just kind of looked and he just walked straight into the yard into cover and got away. Because before the events of Halloween 1 in 1978, he had never been shot before. So he didn't know how that felt. He feels pain. Michael feels pain. I'm going to tell you why I believe that in a second. Michael feels pain, and he saw that Hawkins had a gun, and he's like, okay, Loomis just shot me. That hurt. I need to get away from this guy. And he was hurt, obviously. Even though it doesn't look like he was shot, I don't know if that was an oversight by the effects team at Blumhouse or anything. It's hard to believe that they would overlook that, because they're pretty good about getting everything right and nailing everything. You know, I've been very impressed with how they do it. So, but when he walks through the yard and Hawkins walks up, he sees a bloody footprint. Now, and there was a good bit of blood in that footprint. Now, could that have been one of his victims? Maybe. But I'm thinking it was his blood, which means, obviously, he bleeds, so he's not. I wouldn't suspect a fully supernatural being to bleed. They might. I mean, obviously, we really don't know. But me, when I see bleeding, I associate that with humans. So Michael was hurt, and then when you go into the scene where he walked up on Lonnie Elam when he tripped on the sidewalk, you still don't see a lot of damage to his chest or anything. So where did that blood come from? And I think I know, because actually just today I really tried to watch that scene. And the scene I'm talking about is the scene in the house where Michael is using Hawkins' partner as a human shield. Which, another thing, the way he attacked Hawkins' partner and used him as a human shield also makes me believe that, okay, he has the wherewithal to realize that bullets hurt me. I don't want to get shot, because up until then, like, Michael in Halloween 1 never lunged like that, really. I mean, I guess you could say he kind of lunged at Bob, but not like he lunged at his partner when he turned and Michael was just at full sprint and grabbed him and slammed him against the wall, because, in my opinion, he had a gun. He didn't want to risk getting shot. He knew that hurt him. And he was clearly using Hawkins' partner as a human shield. But after Hawkins shoots him, and then Michael drops him, there's a split second. It's really difficult to pause it. I actually had to slow the video down and just go through it frame by frame. There is actually evidence of a bullet hole on his right side in his chest. So, in that flashback, one of the deputies said that Loomis said he shot him 6 times in the chest. I don't know if they seem to have retconned that. Not all 6 shots hit, but from what I could tell, now I could be wrong. Now go look at this back and try to see it. But as soon as he drops Hawkins' partner and he turns to go through the door, you look at it, you'll see a slight glimpse of his right chest. It looks like there is a bullet hole there. So I'm thinking he was shot at least once by Loomis. Now, there was obviously no stab wound there. I don't know. I guess it could have been there. The overalls were dark. The coveralls were dark. Who knows? But from what I can see, he was shot at least once by Loomis at the Doyle house. So let's just go by what I saw there. And he was shot once. Still, shot once in the chest. That's going to hurt. I mean, it looked like, that was a .38 special, I believe Loomis had in Halloween 1. That's at that closer range. That's going to hurt, and that's going to do some damage, and that's why I think Michael lunged at Hawkins' partner and then used him as a human shield, because Hawkins had a gun. He didn't want to get shot. And that's one of the reasons why when he got downstairs, he pretty much gave himself up. Now, there's some people and some YouTubers out there, I like to say, I don't like to mention names, I don't like to be a name dropper, but one in particular, and you'll know who I'm talking about, doesn't like when Michael is made to look weak and submissive. I don't think he looked weak and submissive there, but I think he had the wherewithal to realize he has got, what, a dozen guns pointed at him right now, and even if they didn't kill him, they're going to hurt. He doesn't want that, so he basically just kind of shut himself down. He's like, okay, well, it looks like this is over with. I'll just have to wait, and I'll have to wait for my next opportunity, and that's what he did. He didn't fight back. He could have fought back. You can see he's capable of fighting back, as we see in Halloween Kills, but he didn't because he knew those guns were on him. And then that pretty much leads us into the Halloween 2018 scenes where Michael, it had been, what, 40 years, but he still knows what it's like to get shot. He didn't want to get shot. He was trying to, Hawkins can't shoot worth a damn either, because if you think, he missed Michael two times basically the same way, where Michael's just walking away, and well, not 2 times, 3 times if you think about it. Yeah, Hawkins can't shoot worth a damn. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, but you know, he did everything he could to avoid Hawkins in that house when he killed the babysitter in Julian's house. And then he was walking the opposite direction of Laurie, but Laurie was able to clip him, but he's got away. Now, and you saw the blood splatter, and it looked like it knocked him down for a second, and that hurt him. And he's like, damn, this hurts. And then Hawkins ran him over with the car and knocked him unconscious for quite a significant amount of time. A fully supernatural being, I can't see a fully supernatural being being knocked out. But he was unconscious for a while, because unless he was just waiting, he was always conscious the whole time, which I don't see that happening, because after Sartain stabbed Hawkins, which presumably in 2018 killed him, but we all know it didn't, that pretty much incapacitated anybody who could be a threat to Michael. So even if he was waiting for something like that to happen, once Sartain stabbed Hawkins, if he was not unconscious, he could have woke up, killed Sartain, and got to Allison very easily, but he didn't. And like I said, Sartain drug him, threw him in the car, and everything. And it was probably, I don't know, I guess I don't know how much time elapsed in the movie, but I'll say it was about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes tops that elapsed in their time when Michael was in the backseat with Allison, and then he woke up. And like I said, he didn't have any problem killing Sartain, so he would have done it then if he wasn't really unconscious. So he was knocked unconscious by Hawkins' SUV. So that's another example, I think, why I don't believe he's fully supernatural. And then when he gets to when they drive, he gets to Laurie's house, he kills the cops, and he kind of sneaks up behind them and kills them quietly, and then obviously he stages their bodies and everything, but he knew they had guns. He had to dispatch of them quickly. And then when he gets to the house, he sneaks up behind Ray, who has a gun on him too. Makes sure that he chokes him out before he can do any damage. And then the big thing in this movie is when Michael busts his hands through the door and he was slamming Laurie's head, and she tried to position the shotgun to shoot him, and Michael put his hand on the barrel to stop it. When she pulled that trigger, you heard a grunt from Michael, and he pulled his hand back like, "Ow, man, that hurt!" And it hurt him. You can tell it hurt him. I mean, it hurt him and it pissed him off at the same time, obviously, but he still felt it. He grunted a little bit, and he shook his hand like, blew my fingers off. And then when he got in the house and Laurie and Karen were hiding in her little basement dungeon there, you see the blood dripping off his hand. So, of course, once again, he's bleeding. That's another thing where I think a fully supernatural being would not bleed. And the blood was dripping pretty significantly. And then when Laurie came back up with the 30-30 lever action, badassery there was blood all over the place. And Michael, of course, was hiding behind one of the mannequins in one of her upstairs bedrooms. And then he he knocked it down and lunged at her real quick before she could shoot him. See, he has the wherewithal and the self-preservation to realize, okay, these bullets hurt. I can't be getting shot. And then later on, when he was, I believe Laurie stabbed him, and then hit him with the frying pan, knocked him down the steps into the dungeon, into the cage that they built for him, and all that stuff. It knocked him for a loop for a second. Of course, then he rose up and he grabbed Karen, I believe, to pull her back down. And Allison took his knife and sliced his hand and his wrist, and then he pulled his hand back like, "Ow, that hurt!" And that enabled them to, pull the lever and release the spikes to block him in there. And then of course they set it on fire, which leads into Halloween Kills, which I'm going to say to start off. Obviously Michael was burned a little bit, but there's two things. Like, people say he's fully supernatural, that's why he didn't burn all the way, and I have a differing opinion on that. For one, he hid in the gun cabinet, or whatever you want to call that thing. I guess you can call it a gun cabinet that Laurie had, because when the firefighter fell through, he opened the door, so he was protected from the flames. And two, even though his face got burned, obviously his face was significantly burned and he felt it, the mechanics coveralls he were wearing, those things most of them are flame retardant for simple reasons. You're working around cars and dangerous flammable liquids, things could happen. So that's why I don't think he burned to death in that. And him, having the wherewithal to realize, okay, this fire sucks. He burned his face. Is like, okay, I need to find some place to hide until something can happen. And he hid in the gun safe, or the gun cabinet, until the firefighter fell through the floor, and then they pulled him up. Obviously, he had some damage going. And then, of course, he went absolutely insane on the firefighters, which is just an awesome scene. It was just great. And then the next time you see Michael, he's at the neighbor's house where he kills the man and the woman. I believe that's the cemetery caretaker, because I believe it was a hearse outside their house. The caretaker that led the podcasters to Judith's grave in the first one. And she flew the drone into the or he flew the drone into the bathroom. Yes, excuse me. And then it came back out, so obviously Michael was in the bathroom. And if you watch the deleted scene, there's an extended scene to that in the special edition DVD where you see Michael from the camera of the drone in there, and he knocks it down and everything. But he was in the bathroom for a reason. He wasn't just hiding in there to jump out and kill them. He was doctoring up his injured hand from the shotgun. Because if you notice, even without the deleted scene, when he grabs and pulls the old dude through the glass, you see his hand is bandaged up. And you see in subsequent scenes later, and in the trailer, like with the first trailer that was released when it showed Michael walking to his mask, and he reached his hand down, his hand is bandaged up. If he was a fully supernatural being, he wouldn't need to bandage up his badly injured hand. But he bandaged it up. That's what he was doing in the bathroom. Of course, he was like, yeah, I'll kill them in a minute, but I need some bandages for this. So, once again, knew he was injured, had the wherewithal to bandage himself up. Now, a fully supernatural being probably wouldn't be bleeding, and if they were, they wouldn't care. Like Freddy wouldn't care because he's fully supernatural. This version of Michael Myers is not fully supernatural. It's just pure evil human, maybe with a slight supernatural edge. And then you get the scenes with in the park where he kills Marion and all those people, and Michael's jumps on top of the car and keeps moving around and makes Marion shoot all 6 rounds of her gun, and then he kills them. And of course, that guy's wife can't shoot. She don't know, let's say, shit from apple butter about how to shoot a gun, because how she missed him is beyond me. But she got. I don't know why you want to get that close to someone when you have a gun. That's the whole point of a gun. Get close enough to where you can kick the door and shoot herself with the Desert Eagle. Hilarious scene, but I don't think she hit Michael with any of those shots. That's how bad of a shot she was. So, but Michael, obviously realized that she was getting closer with that gun, and he reacted, kicked the door to try to. I bet he kicked the door just to probably stop her to knock the gun out of her hands. He was probably just as surprised as everyone else when it basically knocked the gun and shot herself. But he knows getting shot hurts. He doesn't want to get shot. Like another instance later on at the Myers house towards the end, after he killed Lonnie, and Allison and Cameron went in the house. And when Cameron saw his dad's body, Michael jumps out of the closet and runs up and comes up to him really fast, so he doesn't have time to react to point and shoot the gun. And he does that, and he stabs him there. And then, of course, Cameron's laying down there, and he tries to reach for the gun, and Michael stomps his hand. Stomps his hand to keep him from getting a hold of that gun. He knows that hurts. And also, when he stabbed, I forgot to mention, when he stabbed Cameron, Allison came in with the shotgun, and of course, once again, you don't have to be 2 feet away from someone to shoot them, but he knocked the shotgun out of the way and threw her down the steps, incapacitating her and getting her away from the shotgun. And then after he killed Cameron, and he was about to stab Allison with a knife, and then Karen came in and stabbed him with the pitchfork, you could tell by the reaction and the way his body was, it's like he felt that hurt him. And then of course she stomped his head, which knocked him out for a few seconds, but he got back up. Like I said, he's not a normal mortal human. I admit that, because this kind of damage would have killed a normal man. He's not a normal man. He is like Carpenter said, almost a supernatural being, a force of nature. He's pure evil in human form. Got that slight supernatural element to him, like I said. That's basically the best way I can describe it, a slight supernatural element. Where I think he can be killed, but it's going to take a hell of a lot of damage to do it. And then, of course, when he chased Karen and to the next street and got his mask, and he was surrounded by everybody. One of the first people when he put his mask back on and he started fighting all of them, one of the first things he did, if you notice, was that when that person pointed the revolver at him, he sliced that person. I don't know if it was a man or a woman, I can't remember, but sliced that person's wrist, and then they shot one, and the shot went wild. But then they shot him. That person shot him 5 more times, and all of them connected, and it knocked him down. And that's kind of incapacitating for a bit, and that was enabled them to beat the hell out of him, and then Karen was able to stab him. But then, of course, Michael was probably, after a while, he'd come to and playing a little possum, and then once again, I don't know why you have to be you have to be 1.5 feet away from someone to shoot him, because with Brackett, he had a Beretta 92 with what I'm assuming was a full 15-round magazine, and he didn't have to get that close to him, but of course, he pulls a knife out of his back and starts killing everybody. And like I said, he took a beating. That would have killed a normal man. So, like I said, he's not a normal man. He's just a pure evil human with a slight supernatural element. And I don't know what's going to happen to him in Halloween Ends. He's probably going to take more damage and keep coming, but that's basically my opinion and the evidence I have that Michael Myers is a human being, not fully supernatural, just a pure evil, a human with a slight supernatural edge that drives him. Now, we're probably going to find out what actually drives him in Halloween Ends, which I'm not sure if I want to see that, but that's another video for another time. But that's my opinion on it, and that's, like I said, the evidence I've given to you is what makes me think that he's not a fully supernatural being. Like I said, I just used this timeline, obviously, because this is the one we're in. The other timelines, the whole argument's different. But this is the timeline I'm going with, and I've just presented you with the evidence. At least I think it's evidence. I don't know. You might disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. It's just been something that I've seen debated, and I've partaken in the debates since the 90s. Like I said, since the birth of the internet, when you could actually converse with other people other than people at school about this. I've seen the argument. I've seen both sides of it, and there's an argument to be made. He's fully supernatural. I mean, he's taken a hell of a lot of punishment in these movies. Getting shot, getting beat up, getting burned. I mean, stabbed with a pitchfork. Stabbed with a knife. Oh, yeah, and Allison stabbed him a couple of times with the knife. I forgot about that. Like I said, but it didn't seem to have a whole lot of effect on him. But he still feels the pain. You can tell some of his reactions and the fact that he goes out of his way to not get shot. He does not want to get shot. So that is, I think, evidence that points to him not being fully supernatural. But, I mean, I could be wrong. Who knows? Who knows? In Halloween Ends, we might find some kind of a dream demon type of thing, or like something from Freddy's Dead or Jason Goes to Hell. Please, God, don't do that. But you never know what we could see. But for now, I'm going to say, as I've always said, that he's a human being with a sort of a slight, ever so slight supernatural edge to him. Obviously, something is driving him. A force not of this earth, so to speak, is driving him in the slightest. But is he a fully supernatural being? No, I don't think so. He's not fully supernatural like, you know, like Freddy, or I guess you could say Jason, and sometimes, you know, at least zombie Jason. That's pretty much fully supernatural. But I don't think he's that. I think he's just a human, pure evil that's being driven by something, some kind of force that we don't know. But that's the way I see it. Let me know what you think in the comment section, because I'm curious of what people think, because, you know, every Halloween fan's got their own opinion on this. So let me know what you think. And I thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoy the Halloween Ends trailer tomorrow. There's a lot of anticipation for it. Let's hope it lives up to the hype. And I will make a video about that in the near future, but until then, thank you for watching. So long, and have a good one.